Emergency Remote TAS on a Stick, one of many versions. I want to show you today. This is a download install that will come up running. In this version, you're looking at the main screen. Sidetracking a moment, there are two other versions. Also, clicking this red and blue button is the main screen, similar to the last screen we just saw. Gal Friday, which is limited to 5 accounts, but it has all the options. And the third program is the CMR MC Remote, which is a CMR database populated that we can color code, set titles and statuses, email, dial out, keep notes, tracking times, set calendar events, and send out brochures and different attachments. Purpose of this demo is not to discuss the latter two versions, but to discuss this option that I'm giving everybody for free, a way to prepare for an emergency. Populate this application with an unlimited number of accounts and clients. Grab it on a memory stick, go someplace, plug in, and run your telephone answering service or virtual operator. We can do this by going to the administration, the process, everything's got a password, and we could essentially purge all our messages after we're finished to an Excel or another format. And we can also import with one button. Looking at this screen, the green and the red buttons are the only two buttons you need to do. Now I want to show you that we do have messages stored out there. And I want to show you that there's nothing in the archive messages, which is a work area. What I'm going to do is click this button, and I'm going to purge all the messages out of the system to the desktop, where you could take an Excel application and import it back in, or print your messages, do what you want to do. And there's the file name of the 17 messages. Viewing that again, we have no messages. I'm going to import with one key and populate this whole system. But first I want to tell you where the data is coming from. I have created a sample emergency remote Excel sheet for accounts and clients, and the fields of each are exactly as we have here. Now, if you could populate your system to an Excel sheet, these field names using my example, then one key completes that process and populates the database. Now just go look. In the account, I should have 4 accounts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Go to the main screen and look at my account directory, 1, 2, 3, 4. Looking at Mastar 1 populated account, this is a little delay annoyance only on the demo version of this application. But as I said, it's free to set up. If you have an emergency, call Mastar and we'll take care of you. The only inherent problem is there's this little delay before you go into an account and take a message only. Otherwise, everything else is unlimited. We're in a blank message. We're just going to enter something in the front field, something in the message field, and we're going to save that message. There's the message right there, the one active message in this system. Okay, and that message I'm going to deliver. So up here at the scripts, I'm going to do is deliver this message to old. Going into an account, you could go in, entering an account number, or find the account in one of the lines, hitting the enter key. This little delay again, but it still allows you to test and do everything you need to do. When it's an emergency, call Mastar, we'll remove that delay. And go out there and take a message to various clients. Actions got populated from that Excel import with some prior, on-call, anything you want to put in these fields would be laid into this action fields so that you can get most of the important data from your existing service. Okay. In addition, you can also add your accounts by going into the admin section and adding one account at a time. Let's do that. Exiting back to the main, to the admin section, add a account. And I'm just going to call this account a fictitious number, HHH, HHH, HHH is anything garbage in, garbage out, and save that account. That's as quick as it takes to add your accounts into the system. And we got HHH there already populated with an office and a fill-in, and go out and take a message to HHH, okay, and enter something in here from Don. Please call, we'll call back, and that's a message. So we got one active message, we got one old message. Okay, we can add a client into this account HHH by just entering in Tim, and Tim would be a client. We could say he's an email process. We're going to set up something x@x.com, some email address, and when we take a message now for Tim, we'll actually send out an email. And so something in here from Sue, we could essentially click the email address and email it to that fictitious number. That's how simple it is to email. And if you have a smartphone that has text, we could also send out text messaging. Going back to the admin quickly, we added a message when we input it by the import process as a dummy spot. We had one old delivered, we took two messages, HHH, okay? One to Sue and one to Don. And back to the process, since the emergency is all done, enter our password, 123. All we would have to do is purge those messages, 4 messages, out to the desktop with a date code. And that could also be purged into an Excel file or a comma delimit text file. And so that's the process of getting data in. Now, if you wanted to, you can just add your clients yourself. So back to here quickly, I'm just kind of jumping around now. What I want to do is I just want to clear my accounts. I have no accounts, I have no messages. I go into my account setup and it'll be 0, 0, 0 right there. Xing it out. I could essentially enter an account number. Again, this is a manual process. You just have to have some fields. And we're starting to take messages already for that account off this fill-in or to the office itself. It's not going to email or it's not going to text until you add in a client. So Fred, and he's a text out type of person. In order to do that texting, we have to go to the next step. But we do need to have an email address. Save it and go back, and because it's a text, go back and enter him and enter in a little bit more information and who the carrier is and whether that will test okay, and if it tests okay, then you claim it does. And now we can go and take a text message to Fred or for Fred, and be from Don again, and some phone numbers, and we might say please call, and we've taken a message of 26 characters, which is well enough to text without causing a problem, and click the text button, and that will actually send out a text. And so this is an emergency for yourself. Populate from your system. Keep your memory stick in an emergency mode with most of your data updated, or figure a way to export to my sample Excel sheet in one kick. Pushes all the data, populates my system, grab it on a memory stick and go plug in and run it from any place that you can connect up to your internet and set up SMTP. Now, the only thing that really needs to be done here in order to do a few things, go back into the admin section, click to go to the system setup, click in 1, 2, 3, the password we've created so far, and write down here what we want to do. Everything's set. This is just more complicated, and a lot of things are blocked out for not having options. I've made it skinny and slim and easy to do. Set up your SMTP server name, like this is a Gmail. Set up a user password, and let these be by default in your work if it's a Gmail situation. Otherwise, there's more help. And I'm here for you. Just because this is free does not mean that I will not help everybody out. Now, the last thing about the install process. When you download this and click the download, it will come up running. But it doesn't mean that it will run the second time. And in order to create a startup at your desktop, is that you need to go to your location where I've installed the application. C drive in a Mastar folder, emergency remote folder, and the file down here is the emergency remote exe. That's the executable file, or file that you want to right click on, create a shortcut, or send to, which is easier, desktop. And by doing that, we now have a shortcut on the desktop, and we also have the file that was the export of so many records. And there would also be a third file that could be an Excel file that you can import back the messages you took during an emergency mode into your system somehow. And all that is somehow you might have to just input manually. So I thank you very much for taking a little time out and letting me share with you emergency remote, the only telephone answering service system on a memory stick.